My name is Thomas Hawk. I'm a Bay Area-based photographer. I'm working to photograph and publish 1 million images before I die. I shoot, process, and publish photographs every single day. Right now, today, we're about to go on a photo walk here at the Peninsula School, and we hope you'll follow us along.
Welcome to the Marc Silber Show, Advancing Your Photography, where we bring you tips from remarkable photographers about how to take photographs you love. Thanks
Good
for
to see you.
coming
Yeah.
out here and showing us around.
Yeah, good to see you again.
So this is your photo walk, my friend. So
Cool.
let's walk and talk.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. Beautiful place.
Yeah. I went here from the age of 2 to when I graduated, I was 13. So it was my entire life, you know, was centered around this place here. And again, it was all about creativity. We learned how to make films, we did plays, music. So the idea is you get exposed to all sorts of different art forms and hopefully latch onto one of them. And for me, it was photography. So tell us what you're looking at. What are you finding as you're shooting, and what lens are you using?
Right now I'm using the 14mm ultra wide. And I mean, for dramatic, big wide angle shots like this, that works well. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to shoot here, and there's a lot of beautiful detail in the architecture, and there'll be a lot of that to shoot as well. But I mean, this is such a grand entrance right here, and with the ultra wide lens with the 14mm. So a lot of people use the 10 to 20 as well to shoot this sort of stuff. But you know, you really get all of the columns in there and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, these are kind of cool. I love these looking straight up, like at these lines.
Oh, that's cool.
You could shoot it at a low aperture and get something that's pretty, you know, abstract on the focus.
Right.
I saw some of your abstract photos in the cafe there.
Yeah.
I love those. Lately, I've been trying to do more and more with that.
Yeah, we were talking about getting out of the conventions.
Yeah, so this, and I don't know what I'll do with this yet, but you know, just really, really narrow focus. Yeah, just sort of, you know, keep everything out of focus, but a very small part of it.
Right.
And then maybe do something more dramatic with black and white, and you know, turn it into something more of an abstract. This is an interesting shot, looking straight up this column.
Yeah.
Because you've got so much going on. You've got the lines going up the column, then you've got the detail actually on the column. You've got the curves at the top there, and then at the very top molding all those square boxes.
Right.
So this is something that I'll probably shoot a few different ways and see what I like afterwards. A lot of people understand the basics of Aperture, you know, and how it works, but basically when you're shooting in Aperture priority mode like I am right now, you know, the camera's going to adjust to where you want your aperture. So if I'm out here at 32, basically what that's going to do is put everything in focus. If I'm down here at 2, there's going to be just a tiny, tiny field that's in focus. So I'm shooting this in a couple of different ways because those boxes up at the top look really interesting, sort of out of focus and abstract. But they also look interesting, you know, in focus as well. And getting all the details. So yeah, I think a lot of times, you know, when you said get up or get low or get high, I mean, I couldn't agree more. A lot of times you'll find, like, I'll see a great neon sign or something, and you'll think just, okay, well, I'll just shoot it up. But if you look around and think about it, you say, well, how could I get to this sign from above? Because sometimes it just makes such a more dramatic picture looking down at it instead of looking up at it, because, you know, probably 90% of people taking pictures of signs are looking up because they're higher than the view level. But like these columns here, it's really great to shoot down on them. Sometimes you get a whole different perspective. Yeah, a lot of times I'll run around, just figure out, how can I get on the roof of this building or that building.
Okay, hey Thomas, so when you're looking for emotions, because obviously that's a big component in any photograph, how do you capture that kind of emotion you're looking for?
I think with a lot of people that I shoot on the street, where I'm not in any sort of like a controlled environment with someone, it's just luck. It's just, you have to catch people at the right time. Somebody will have a very worried expression on their face as they're waiting at a corner to cross a street. And so a lot of it's, you just have to get it, or at least I do with street photography, kind of get lucky and get naturally, sort of get some of that. When you're working with somebody with an actual subject that you're engaging with, that's a different situation, and so there's a lot more control. A lot of times I'll just, if I'm going to tell someone that I'm going to shoot them, typically their first response is to pose.
Yeah.
And so they'll do that, and that's not necessarily what you want.
Right.
Sometimes it can be, but a lot of times it's not. So a lot of times I'll take those photos and let them do their pose and get that out of the way, but then just talk to them. And while I'm talking, try to get them to say something, ask them questions, hopefully get them to relate some sort of a story that they feel positive about or that makes them smile naturally versus a posed smile.
Yeah.
Or different expressions. And a lot of it's I'm just constantly shooting, while I'm talking to them. And I think that when you do that, you'll get a quizzical look, you'll get a sort of more natural human emotions.
How about any tips for improving composition?
Yeah, composition, it's almost cliche to say now, but like we were talking in the cafe earlier, know the basic rules of composition and whatnot, the rule of thirds and whatnot, and then consciously break them. For compositions, I like a lot of abstract composition. Think about turning your camera sideways, diagonally, up, down, different lenses. Oftentimes you can find some central action, and I think sometimes people have too much in a photo. And so one composition tip is to try to where you find that central action, either get closer to it to focus more on it, or crop closer to it in the post-production.
Any final tips for photographers who just want to get better photographs?
Yeah, a couple tips. The first tip is, have your camera with you as much as possible. I mean, everybody says that, but you can't take a picture if you don't have your camera with you. And although camera phones are good, and you're getting more and more interesting shots, like with, the iPhone and Hipstamatic. Overall, I think you just got to have it with you. If it's in your car, if it's in your trunk, hopefully it's on you. But have your camera with you. You just never know what's going to happen. Some event, something that you come across. I mean, so many great shots are accidental shots that just show up out of the blue, and if you had your camera, you'd be ready. So I think having your camera with you is really important. And then shoot a lot. Digital is essentially free.
Yeah.
So you're talking about battery life and card storage, but in hard disk space. But other than that, I will frequently take 20 shots of the same thing. And there's some famous photographers like William Eggleston, who says that he never takes the same shot more than once.
Yeah.
And I think some people, maybe they can do that. Me, I'm the opposite. I want to shoot something 50 times and then say, okay, that's the one I want out of those 50. So personally, I tend to overshoot. I think a lot of people just take 1 or 2 shots of something, and then they get home, and if it's, they're blurry, if they had taken 10, maybe 9 would have been blurry and 1 would have come out okay if it was a low light situation or something like that. So I tell people to overshoot things.
Thomas, thanks for joining us on Advancing Your Photography and coming out on our photo walk.
Thanks, glad to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Be sure to subscribe to our blog now to stay updated on my show, and we'll give you tips and insight to keep advancing your photography. Also, check out our guests' website for a closer look at their work. Tune in to our next episode of Advancing Your Photography for an inside look at another photographer's world. Until then, this is Marc Silber reminding you to get out and capture your own images of life.